All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome back to Wednesday live stream for January 17th. If you're new here, welcome to the Point Three podcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you, Point Three people. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us, follow us on social media, and the one little small housekeeping type news our Echo review is out. Get 40 minutes plus of us talking Echo and what it means for the greater MCU. It's a very good video. Highly suggest you check it out. But we're going to be talking about the news this week, and Marvel's old movie slate was unearthed a year ago, right? This picture was found a year ago, but Lou, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen anybody talk about it.
No, I think it got buried and just like literally swept under the rug. And then every once in a while you get like a peek of it. I went back and I tried to research hard on this to see if people are talking about it. You need like Google master skills to find anything on it.
Yeah, it's insane. I found, I think, one article on comicbook.com that just kind of like comments on it, but
yeah,
no comments, no social media posts.
No.
Even because the way that I came across it, actually, let's save that for later when we get to the deep dive. But let's start with this week's news. We got a little bit of news. Nothing too crazy this week, thankfully. Again, though, the Point Three curse happens where we talk about this and then literally as soon as we go off air, news, more important news comes out that we just can't talk about till the following week. So, but before we get to the news, we got one more person joining us. The one, the only, the sensational Spider Brando.
Dang.
I barely timed that up because my sound was not working. All of a sudden, I heard on the headset was next up, and I was like, "Oh, I hope this is me."
I'm so glad you caught it because I was going to be kind of sad if you didn't get the timing. Well, you're just in time because we're going to start the news for this week. First big piece of news: Godzilla -1 minus color. The black and white version of Godzilla -1 is getting its theatrical release in North America January 26th through February 1st.
Big shout out there. Across 100 mil global box office. Huge. I remember we were talking about it of like 15, 12, like the low millions. And dude, talk about this. It's my 2024 movie of the year nomination already.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that cheating though?
Yeah, of course it is.
Technically.
Right? But technically.
Find me something to beat it. Find me something coming out this year to beat that.
You're telling me Sony's very own Madam Web isn't going to beat out Godzilla?
Nah.
Or Craven. Or Venom. Got the Sonyverse in full shine this year, baby.
In full swing because they're the spiders.
Ooh.
Full swing. Wait.
Oh, like there's no spiders.
But no spiders. Exactly. No Spider-Man ever, though. Just spider adjacent villains.
I want to address that a little bit later on once he deep dive.
Yes. So again, Godzilla -1 minus color, January 26th. If you haven't, definitely go watch this film. And if you want a review beforehand, if you don't mind the spoilers, watch our review on it because it was really good. Next bit of news: Deadpool 3. This kind of went under the rug until Spider Brando, you kind of brought it up, or I think it was Dylan on our Discord brought it up. Deadpool 3 trailer rumored to be shown during the Super Bowl.
That is best case scenario.
Yeah. I would say there's no better time for a trailer like that to drop than being like the most watched event in the world. one
Yeah.
of the most watched events,
For sure.
Especially
My
for-
only thing.
Go ahead.
especially for like a person like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah. For marketing, it's
supposed,
very
but-
smart. It's very smart. But my thing is, this movie's not done though, right? As far as I know, they're still filming. So I'm curious,
Yeah,
like
but
how
by the
this
time
would-
they still got a month until the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's like third week of February now.
Hmm.
They still got a month to edit, and I mean, we saw back in July all of that set releases, so they have to have something for like a quick teaser.
I mean, I could easily see this trailer being like a compilation of existing footage from Deadpool 1 to
Yeah.
Wolverine movies potentially, and like
yeah.
good voiceovers, and then minimal Deadpool stuff. Or I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds.
don't
He could
see
be
it being
standing
much
in his
bigger.
house and recording this, and that could be part of the trailer or something. So
Yeah, similar to the
Yeah.
reveal trailer,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Dylan, what's up, man?
What's up?
Welcome in. But yeah, there was also, just in case anybody's watching this later on and is like, well, they didn't talk about the behind the scenes picture, just for the sake of bringing it up, because there's nothing really to talk about in it. If you guys saw earlier today, Ryan Reynolds released a photo of the two chairs that the actors sit on. One says Logan, one says Deadpool. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing in the picture. Besides
If you guys haven't
Interesting.
watched his stuff around Wrexham United, the football club that he has over in England, Ryan Reynolds is like the ultimate subtle hype man.
oh, for sure.
Dude, he's so good. He's so good at knowing what people want.
Yeah, he knows how to market.
To
Very
tease to the
smart.
max.
Very smart.
I need to take notes.
Right? That's what we need. We need to get Ryan Reynolds to market Point 3 podcast.
And
So-
sponsor us. Maybe he'll buy it from us. And
Yeah, if you're watching, please.
Yeah.
We'll sponsor Aviation Gym.
Taylor, I know he's friends with Taylor Swift. She was my number 3, so that gives us an edge. She's
Yeah,
my
she's
number
number
3
3?
on Apple Music
Oh, look.
for
see?
2023.
second loser though. She wasn't number
Hmm.
1.
And dude, she lost out to someone I have a tattoo for. So
That's fair.
All right, wait. We're losing the sponsorship. Let's move on. So,
now, Kid Cudi, if you're listening, I got a tattoo, man.
hey, we'd appreciate that too. Moving on to DC for one quick second. James Gunn again, I think he took to Threads or Twitter. I can't remember which one it was exactly.
Whoa.
A fan asked him about Creature. Oh, X, my bad. Sorry, X. A fan asked him a question about Creature Commandos, and he confirms that Anya Chawada, who is most known for playing the role of Yennefer in Netflix's The Witcher, is going to be voicing Circe in
Mhm.
Creature Commandos. For those that don't know, Circe is a Wonder Woman villain. She's a sorceress, basically.
Mhm.
So interested to see where this is going, because Creature Commandos is shaping up to be very interesting series.
I know everyone's looking to Superman Legacy. Do not sleep on Creature Commandos. He knows what he's doing. Then this has been a very calculated, well thought out, and well orchestrated cast of characters, and the concept, if done right, man, we'll be talking about it more on the Point 3 podcast as we get close, but we'll drop little nuggets and just, I think, I don't know if you have this in the news or not, but do you have the games piece to the DC as well?
I don't, but I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah.
But if you want to fill us in.
No, it's I just think like it's easy for people to forget that a lot of things have been announced already. And for whatever reason, there's still this stigma that like if James Gunn says something, everyone's like, is it really gonna happen? He's like, yeah, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Like it's happening. So animated in games, they're gonna be tied into the overarching DCU stories. And they're gonna be just another way to add to this. It's going to be really, really cool. And I am so curious to see how Marvel responds in kind.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that they have that chance to like you said, continue that cross promotion between their own projects. Because if Circe, whatever, I don't know, Circe is what I'm going to go with. If we see her in Creature Commandos and then see her in Wonder Woman, I think that payoff is going to be instantly huge for a lot of fans and is going to set aside the DCU in a very important way. So let's hope for the best with the DCU.
Yeah, 100%. Love it. What do we got next?
Next up, something that might be a little bit depressing for you She-Hulk fans, but also I'm going to say not really that unexpected. But Tatiana Maslany went on a Twitch stream a couple days ago, was asked about She-Hulk season 2, and she basically said that Disney is not interested, and Marvel is not interested in a She-Hulk season 2, stating that they blew over budget. This isn't an official statement, right? So kind of take it with a grain of salt, but also I can see this being 100% true.
Listen, from the reports I heard, and I can look into this a little bit deeper, 225 million was the budget for She-Hulk, which puts it 25 million over everything else that's getting budget. So I'm like, you guys only had 25 million allotted for season 2. Sounds good. You're starting to see the issues of Disney Plus coming to light, and they're devaluing their projects by saying season 1 of what? Because there should be a season 2, and if there's not a season 2, it's kind of like, why isn't there a season 2? And they're like, yeah, it wasn't really that good. People didn't like it, even though it was kind of split in a lot of ways. Time is digging the hole deeper.
Yeah, unfortunately. Spider-Brand, you were someone who watched She-Hulk a lot later after it came out. Do you think having your feelings away from the huge, mostly online negativity, do you think that eased or bettered your view of the show when you saw it?
I think it bettered it by a little bit because I still heard all that noise like by the time I got to it, and I heard a lot of very, 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 very interesting opinions on the show before I had watched it. But I still think staying away from it, of like the mainstream noise of like when it was coming out weekly, it's probably for the best for me. So I enjoyed it for what it was. And then I feel like I was gonna say something so good right there and just slipped off my freaking tongue.
No, that's all right.
But not sad that there's not gonna be a season 2. I will say that.
Yeah, it's understandable, and I do think this show would have benefited from a season 2. It would have benefited from a lot of different ways, but also the optics for Marvel fans to really be like, okay, we're still gonna, despite negative reviews, right? I still think there's a large part of the fan base that is vocal about the show that does like it. And it would be kind of a breath of fresh air to be like, okay, Marvel is listening to the fact and would probably take into consideration the negatives of the show and try to make them into strengths. But the fact that Disney's just not at all interested, to me, kind of shows, I think, something that we were talking about just between us, that Kevin Feige isn't really in charge anymore. I really don't think he is, and this just kind of proves that.
Last thing on this point, though, if I was a part of the She-Hulk project, and we've said this before, why would I want to come back for a season 2 knowing that my hard work that I put in is going to be simply because just dragged through the mud. Like there were a lot of really great things that went into She-Hulk. If you watch the behind the scenes and the assembled and all these types of things in interviews of like, it was very relatable for a lot of people. And it's weird because everyone always tags Disney and Marvel as the group that's trying to pander to the ABC and all this kind of stuff and do all that. And it's like, knowing that Marvel doesn't want this, it's like the people that they tried to make fans of over the last couple years kind of crapping on them.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They weren't ready
Speaking,
for the.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they weren't ready for him.
If you ain't now,
Speaking about crapping on fans and not being ready for something, Madam Web, their runtime has surfaced from I think it was a Norwegian website, and it's reported that the runtime for Madam Web is going to be an hour and 56 minutes, breaking the record for Sony's longest Sony Spider Universe movie. Is this a good thing?
No, but could be potentially.
ooh, oh,
Some
explain, sir.
some positivity from the person that I least expected.
No, dude, I
positivity
thought you were
from
about
this
to just like
movie.
pull out a lighter and just your camera's gonna melt.
Do
I
tell,
could do
bro.
that
Burn
too,
it down.
but
No. Do tell, bro.
I say it's bad because it's probably just gonna be Sony badness, and why do we want to see even more of that?
Yeah.
But also, like Dylan said, it seems to be too long. That's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah.
But if they do somehow do the story right, the more screen time, the merrier. Small 1% chance that Sony has to get this movie right. It's not looking good so far. But that extra screen time could help it. Like what we said in our Marvels review, and we wish there was just like an extra 10, 15 minutes. This could be the same situation. But it's Sony. I don't think Sony's ever going to sponsor us by the amount I talk.
No, probably not. Probably not, unless they only watch our Spider-Verse videos, like our Into and Across. The thing is, though, I feel like an hour 56 is that sweet spot where the Marvels felt a little too short. I think anything over 2 hours now, for a lot of people, becomes a bigger ask, especially for a movie that they are not really invested into. So just coming in under 2 hours, I think will be hopefully, right? Let's be hopeful for a second. Hopefully enough time to flesh out the main characters, give you an interesting story while still not asking you a whole lot of time. Maybe not, though. Who knows? Well, maybe when does this movie come out?
Valentine's Day.
I was gonna say maybe a month from now when we're doing our review and we're like, yeah, this movie sucked. I won't be surprised, but maybe we never know.
You truly never know.
There has been nothing that I personally have seen based on the characters introduced that tell me this is going to be a good movie and that it needs more time.
Agreed. But
I mean, no offense. Like, this has nothing to do with like 3 Spider Women and all that kind of stuff. These are characters no one asked for in a version of Madam Web. Like, doesn't matter. Like, does this movie matter?
No.
And that's the thing. Like,
you can though, which is the crazy.
No, bro, that's the MCU talk that we have, like this like false hope for things to be really good because things kind of suck right now.
I was gonna say they could come out and shock us next month and be like, "Yo, this was the most important Sony verse movie."
But what makes a Sony verse movie important at this point?
Nothing. But
if it's not multiversal and doesn't have
the one to connect it. her whole power set is legit about weaving through stories and or not stories, weaving through like different Spider-Verses and stuff.
Maybe
These
So
are the
this
same people that
could be
Vulture
the
show
movie
up.
to connect it all.
Vulture's
but
not showing up because Vulture's still doing God knows what with Morbius. So
I don't know.
I would. Oh my gosh! What if Morbin
I
showed
don't
up and he's like, "It's Morbin
Morbid
time."
time. I love it.
Oh
Love
my
it.
God.
Oh, do
I
it,
feel like
Sony.
Sony would do that. That is something Sony would
Dope,
do
yes.
as a meme to make fun of themselves, and then it backfires completely.
Sony sponsor us.
100%.
Sony sponsor us, please.
Listen, there's only one thing that builds hype for this. One thing.
Spider-Man.
No.
No?
I
Oh.
think it'd be terrible if a live action Spider-Man shows up. If you get a portal and like Gwen shows up or somebody's like, "Oh hey, by the way, we need you guys," type of thing, fine. To me, that would be the only thing that I'd be like, "Oh, sick. All right, I'm gonna watch this movie to see like who they are." But if Andrew or Toby show up, I'd just be like, "Why did you sacrifice him to the
That'd be
Spider Loom gods?"
hilarious. That'd be hilarious. I'll do it. I want to see the internet burn for a little bit.
Bully Maguire shows up and he's just out here just clapping. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Well, one last little bit of news that we got.
Wait,
That
I want to talk about something real quick before.
Oh,
This is one comment on Madam Web. I've been seeing a lot of posts comparing like the three pictures of or the three Spider-Men of like Tom, Toby, Andrew, and then the three Spider-Woman of I don't even know their character's name besides one of them being Sydney Sweeney. And then the three of them, and so many posts and pages are just like, who did it better? What do you mean, who did it better? The movie didn't even come out yet. And first of all, ain't no way you could ever say they did it better than Tom, Toby, Andrew. That's my final takes.
Listen, this isn't a man-woman thing. This is like
No, not
three
at all.
rookies standing next to each other,
20
never having
years,
played a
yeah.
game, and then you got the vet standing there and like, who's better? And like, why don't you
So you
play a
got
game first before you
Brady.
even try?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brady, Peyton Manning, and like Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Standing up against Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and Drake May.
Yeah. Everyone's like, who?
Obviously the first three are gonna be way better and did it better because one, their suits are better. And just
Football.
we know who they are. Over 20 freaking years of movies.
Football.
I got a lot of hate against
Well, no one right now is getting as much hate as one certain celebrity for spoiling things. That's right. We're talking about Usher.
Uh-oh.
And his TikTok cosplay of Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. It's not even, I didn't want to talk about this for the fact that he spoiled it, right? Because he did spoil a major death
he did.
in Jujutsu Kaisen, especially for people that only watch the anime. Devastated. And I've seen memes nonstop about this. But the question I wanted to ask more that was kind of stemming from this as like a little tiny little deep dive, because it does relate to Marvel and superheroes. I feel like right now is the best time to be an anime fan, and this kind of proves that.
Explain.
Do you guys agree? Or do you want me to explain?
Yeah. I'm curious.
It feels like everybody is starting to get into that anime phase to the point where it's going through even celebrities that you would have never thought about. For example, Meg Thee Stallion can't count because she's always been very vocal about her love for anime. But Usher's somebody that I don't think has ever spoken about anime once.
Oh, that was a curveball.
So for him to just come out in a Gojo cosplay and be like, yo, that's my dog. I think that just goes to show you that a lot of casual people are getting into anime, and then you add up the New Year's parade, or was it Thanksgiving parade?
Thanksgiving.
New Year's. Thanksgiving parade where you had Luffy, you had Goku, you had Pikachu. Animes right now is the like end game era of Marvel. I feel like where just you have a bunch of casual people who are loud and proud of it, and it's the cool thing to be in right now.
Y'all are like 40 years late, but I think it's a good thing. I'm never going to be someone who's going to gatekeep.
No,
I hope everyone watches anime because I really think it would help very similarly to how -1 showed people that like the Monsterverse can be really cool. You've just seen nothing but cheeks this entire time. Like you don't know what good
Yeah.
is. It's been in front of your face this whole time. Getting into anime, these stories, especially for action. I think I made a joke about it when we were doing our special project type of thing, and I was like, I don't care. Like I'm a shonen fan. Like I like it. That's what I like. Let's move forward with it. I feel like now people are continuously stepping out of some things that I at least know for me personally when I was younger. If you liked anything anime, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, like any of that kind of stuff, people
beat up.
like you were shunned. Yeah, you went home bloody and you're just like, why is my shirt ripped? And they're like, I like Goku. And they're just like, who's Goku? And I'm like, you don't even know me. You know, it's just
His name's Geeko. You'd be called Geeko, like in Dragon Ball Evolution. Remember that?
no, I think it's a good thing, and I think it's a good thing for the world of animation as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad it's mainstream. Mangaka ain't not gonna pander to the masses of the US just because the US has now entered the chat. Like y'all can sit down and just enjoy.
Yeah.
I saw the My Hero season 7 trailer. My God, I can't wait for that shit.
Yeah, it's looking really
And
good.
you bring that up. You brought USA entering the chat up, and that kind of season 7 is going to be good. That's all I'm going to say.
Still don't know why that show gets as much hate as it does, by the way. Just
It's too
fandom.
casual.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's
Nah,
just like
dude,
To the
freaking
hardcore
fandom that it has.
To the
There's some
hardcore
weird-
people. I mean,
listen,
but there's
everyone has weird. Marvel's super weird.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say the JJK fans are weird. There's a subset of Dragon Ball Z fans that are weird. There's a subset of Death Note fans that
Well,
are
there's
weird.
sort of like every fan base
Yeah,
that's weird, but like, dude, there's some.
I'm coming at it more
My
from
Hero, the My Hero fan base gets it the worst, like media or publicly wise, I guess.
But again, it's
They get treated the worst.
It's stupid in my opinion because very few shows have handled a Superman-like character as well as
My Hero.
My Hero.
Yeah.
Has, right? And everyone's like, oh, it's impossible. You can't tell this story. And I'm like, oh, you go watch this. And,
And
like,
then
I don't
they
like
get,
animation.
like-
Sorry.
But every character has something like unique or like to bring towards in that show. And that's why I like it. And it's not just mainly focused on Deku and like his story. Like they got the whole class 1A, 1B is freaking relevant and make each character like stand out in a way.
Yeah.
But
Take notes.
this isn't in My
You gotta
Hero
take
video.
notes. No. It's a good point though. Mainstream, I don't know. But I said that was a great thing for the MCU, and here we are. So more maybe isn't more.
I think you nailed it though, where it said Japan's not going to change anything. Japan's still going to be Japan, and
They
not
laugh at
cater.
us, dude. They're just like, you guys are so dumb with the stuff you
they're
like.
Keep buying our stuff. Yeah, keep it. Anyways, that's the news for this week. A fun little tidbit. Hopefully, we don't keep getting spoilers from celebrities, though. That can stay with Usher, please. So before we jump into our deep dive, if you haven't, please make sure you subscribe to us here. We really appreciate it. We have the goal of getting to 100 subscribers. We're a little bit over halfway. So share it with your friends, share it with your family if you haven't already. Follow us on the socials.
And Well, I'll throw this out here. Someone who's fantastic at this, one of the 0.3 people, an OG on the Discord, Dylan, another shout out and awesome. If you want to
Fantastic.
hear us talk about something or want to join in the conversation, when we say we want to hear from you, comment what you want to hear next or see next, or join over on Discord and drop us a message and let us know, because we want to talk with you guys, right?
Yes.
So let us
And
know.
we actually do listen to you guys and what you guys want. So
Appreciate you, CMP.
Thank you, man. Next up, so our deep dive. I'm excited because again, we've unearthed something that absolutely nobody talked about, which is insane because I don't understand how. But the other day, and this is how it came across my attention, and then I brought it to the fine gentleman on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I was scrolling through my basically discover page on Instagram, and I saw a picture, and I had to make sure it was real because it, in a way, it kind of looks fake. It looks doctored, but it's not. This is a real thing, and it is Marvel's slate of old films. I have it up. I don't know if one of you guys do.
I got you
Okay.
right now. I was working on
So as Spider-Brando gets ready, I was looking at their slate of stuff. Now, mind you, this is like mid 2000s, so 2004, 2005, 2006. Here it is. You got the wonderful Spider-Man in the middle, right? And you have this absolutely insane slate behind him. And it consists in 2005 of The Punisher, Spider-Man 2, Man-Thing, Blade Trinity, 2005 Elektra, Fantastic Four, behind Spider-Man, yes, that is Iron Man, because there's actually even like a old poster standee that's in another image that we just don't have right now, which is okay. We can find it later. We can find it later. It's all right.
We're working in the background real quick. Don't worry.
2006 is X-Men 3, Namor, and Ghost Rider. And then upcoming, which doesn't seem to have a date from what we can see, on the left of Spider-Man, you have Silver Surfer. You then have Fury. You have Spider-Man 3 right behind Spider-Man.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
I didn't think I was going to open up in that tab.
You have Spider-Man 3 right behind Spider-Man. There's one that's directly behind him that I don't think in the research, no one was able to make it out. Daredevil 2 is that 2 right behind him, or at least that's what we kind of assume that it is.
Circle around this area.
Yeah, why you just keep circling the junk, dude? You looking for this?
Yeah. Captain America on the right and Deathlock.
Dude, Deathlock sounds so cool, but if you gave someone a pencil and you're like, draw him, they'd just be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, he looks cool. He looks really cool.
Yeah.
And Rome said, I was a kid and reading these releases in Wizard magazine. The hype was real. Absolutely, because I feel like if you were a diehard Marvel fan,
mm-hmm.
and they told you this is everything that you're going to get, and I mean, there's the Iron Man poster.
Bro, get this guy's mouse out of here.
Holiday 2005. I don't know why you gravitated toward Iron Man's junk.
I don't know. I just wanted to circle it because I wasn't paying attention to to where the cursor was. I was just
the best part. It's like it's a wide and it's like pendulum effect. Really, right here.
It got more targeted and focused. It was like, huh, okay.
Oh my god, locked on.
But yeah, this is. I feel like if we were Marvel fans back then, or old enough to be more vocal about it, dude, we'd be losing our minds.
Such a unique.
Fun fact: Man-Thing did come out. Just
Man-Thing did come out.
For those.
Okay,
coolest.
Absolute trash, from what I've heard.
Yeah, not good. We know what happened with Elektra. The Punisher. Blade Trinity. Maybe a movie too long. Like, I don't know. The font of Captain America, just thinking about like what that might have looked like, just given the title font, I would.
It gets me so. It's so hilarious to me. Like I remember when the Hero first sent this picture, one of the first things I immediately was like, that Captain America font is goofy.
Yeah, you
It
did.
got me LOL.
I like it though because it screams comic book
It does
in the
It does.
best
It
way
does.
possible. So I actually quite like that logo.
2006 would
what-
have been. Ooh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's what I like about like looking back at this stuff, because I'm someone that knows Cap mainly from like the MCU movies and always seeing like his I guess MCU font and logo or
Mhm.
whatever. Not too familiar with any of his comic logos or much of his comic history. So to me this one looks weird, but to you obviously that screams like better, or not better, but just screams comic accuracy.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
it's just interesting. Rome's, if Will Smith were to play Deathlock, that would have been incredibly interesting. But I think that's just Deathlock is such an obscure character.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, heck, even Namor and Fury at the time kind of would have been too. Again, if you're outside of comics, you don't know who these people are. But I was looking it up. Ghost Rider came out in 2007, so it seems that got pushed a year. Namor just never saw the light of day, and X3 did come out, and we know how we feel about X3.
Ooh.
Huge fan.
Would any of these have been good?
I'm gonna say 2006, like a remake of those movies now. Obviously not X-Men 3, but if the MCU were like, we have X-Men and Namor solo film and Ghost Rider coming out, we'd be like, oh, take our money now. 2006 was a little spicy. I would be so curious of how they would have done Iron Man.
Me too.
Especially
not that far off from 08.
Yeah. The funny thing is they go with that older, not older, but the 90s style armor. Because by now I think by then he has the Extremis armor. I can't remember. So to go with that type of Iron Man design would have been kind of crazy. Oh, and that's the thing. Having Batman and Superman and Spider-Man be the only mainstream heroes, that is the big thing. But if you think about it, X-Men hit for a lot of people, and so did Blade.
Oh yeah.
And
Blade, but interesting to that point though, I think both of those felt a little bit more mature, solely going off of my own basis of like, I borderline got a chance to watch X-Men. I could not watch Blade. My brother got to watch it. My family had watched it. It was like movie night, and they're just like, you can't watch this. Like, it's too mature.
Yeah.
Like, X-Men was close. But Blade was a nah, dog. I had to wait until it was like midnight. VCR turned on. I turned it down to like volume 2, and I was like, shoot, I heard steps, turned the TV off. And I was like, is anybody up? Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, even Fantastic Four kind of hit because it was successful enough for them to want a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, after rewatching it not too long ago, it's not a good movie, but
yeah, growing up as a kid and that being like one of the first Fantastic Four entries in my life it's pretty bad, but still respect to the Fantastic Four from that movie.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird that like
just looking at all this stuff from different perspectives got me crazy right now.
Keeping in mind how the one that I'm very curious about is what they would have done for Silver Surfer. Because we know how it happened with Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. And I think like the Silver Surfer parts of the movie are actually pretty good.
Super cool. They definitely stand the test of time, in my opinion.
Everything else about that movie, though, falls apart.
But
It's very bad. So I would have loved to see what they would have done for a Silver Surfer movie. Like, I wonder if they would have kept it on his origin. Would they have kept it during his time with Galactus? Would they have even brought in like a real Galactus? Or would they have made him a cloud again?
Oh, I think the cloud thing was always probably going to be the end game. Dude, imagine the budget though, a full-on Silver Surfer movie and him as the title character. Like, that is demanding. I don't think you can afford to do a legit Galactus in that.
Yeah, true.
Unless you got like a camera on the ground and some dudes in a suit and they're just like panning up. Straight 50s Godzilla style. And it's just, I don't know.
Daredevil 2. No.
God, no. I may be party of one on this one. I did not like Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
I didn't either.
And I did not like Colin Farrell. Like the two of them plus Jennifer Gardner, I was like, oh, like Daredevil is not cool to me. Except her training montage is dope.
I do have to give props though to Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. I think he's very underrated as a Kingpin. He brings a different take on Kingpin, but I still kind of like it. However, if I remember right, because it's been a very long time since the ending of that movie, doesn't Bullseye die?
I thought he did.
And doesn't Kingpin go to jail? So I'm very curious, what would they have done with a number 2?
You flush it. That's what you do. No? Crickets? I get nothing on a number 2? Come on. That was just the best toilet joke of all time.
Boo.
Boo. Wow, dude.
Boo.
Nothing. Just nothing. I thought at least Spider-Man knows. Just he's like, nah, dude, I'm not paying attention to you.
Boo. Rome's is saying that there was rumors.
I'm not gonna lie.
Rome's was saying that 2 things from Rome's that in Wizard magazines there was constant rumors about Silver Surfer and he was going to fight Skrulls. Jeez, imagine if we would have saw Skrulls back in 2007, 5, 6.
They had enough green from Man-Thing. They could have pulled it off.
Yeah. Bullseye ended up in the hospital in the mid-credit scenes. I really just can't remember. I didn't even know there was a mid-credits. I thought he died.
Yeah, I died. It's kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
What?
So I have no. I never saw the movie, so I have no comment.
If you guys think that they did a crossover, what movies do you think from this list they would have pulled together? They did like a pseudo Avengers level movie. 6 characters.
I would say if everything went like as good planned, the ones that I see kind of doing, I see it either one of 2 ways. Either Fantastic Four and X-Men is your big crossover, or Fantastic Four and Avengers, because they're starting to set up Avengers with Iron Man, Cap, Fury. So I feel like it's one of those 2. But the money back then would have been better with Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the 2000s, I feel like, were so odd that the thought of a team-up movie was just, you didn't. Like the X-Men, you just expanded that roster and you're like, oh, more heroes. But I don't know. I would have been so excited to see what they would have done, how they would have played Iron Man. Knowing now what you know about how the MCU is just core Iron Man, like how would an Iron Man have been treated back then? Of just like, is he a B-list character? And he's just kind of, that's it.
Yes. The funny thing is that Iron Man, Cap, they're B-listers here, man. these are your, I wouldn't even say B, those are your C tier characters that you're bringing in. There's a reason that Blade, that Fantastic Four, that X-Men are on like sequels and thirds, because those are at the time, I would say, your top tiers.
Yeah.
Those are your
Yeah.
moneymakers. The rest are the risks.
My dad always told me like Iron Man and Cap just weren't as popular in his days growing up in the comics, and he would always be all about Fantastic Four, X-Men, and like the mystical side.
I guess.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess it all depends on what type of comics you focus on. Read.
Yeah. Also true. Rome
But-
brings out. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Fantastic Four, X-Men would probably be my go-to also for the
Yeah.
crossover team-up thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say really quick that Rome's brings out a very good point, and in the fact that he said every studio had different characters, and that's so true because even here they still do. So imagine the amount of collaboration that it took between these companies to even kind of say what they were planning at the time. You know what I mean? Like the fact that Sony with Spider-Man is saying, hey, yeah, we're, before 2 has even come out, there's going to be a third.
Yeah.
And, Fox is like, okay, cool. X-Men 3 is coming out. Fantastic Four, I think, is a Fox. Daredevil, that's the plans that we have. So, maybe plan accordingly. But I think that's huge.
But think about that back then before Disney went and consolidated as many IPs as they could. 2004 is not that far off from 98 when no one really had value from a cinematics point of view except for Spider-Man. And even then it was like Tobey Maguire was no one. And Spider-Man came out and it was a hit. And the fact that 4 years later, let's just say 6 years later, the amount of these title names are on there, again, from Sony, Fox, whatever it might be, from a Marvel perspective for live action, it just, I know DC was, king or queen in the castle at that point, but Marvel was starting to hit a little bit of a stride here that they at least to invest potentially. Obviously, a lot of this didn't come there, but it was an idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As Fury once said, there was an idea.
Yeah. And to your point, Lou, about them being just how in trouble they were, because Islands of Adventure, the theme park in Florida, has that Marvel superheroes island, and I watched a video a while ago, and this video does a deep dive into how that deal came apart, how it was originally supposed to be for DC, but DC didn't really go through with it. Marvel was on the brink of bankruptcy, and they were able to basically finesse their way into having Marvel characters in their theme park for life on the East Coast. Like there's some clause in their contract that no theme park within the East Coast can build Marvel specific characters. That's why the Avengers campus that Disney built is in California, because they can't do it here. Because again, at the time, Marvel was just so desperate for money.
So desperate.
They just threw this in there. And Islands of Adventure, obviously, to this day, I would say even still brings in money because of that. But yeah, this is what I think, because that opened 98, 99, I think it was.
Everything went down. They were just scraps. It was just parts.
This is not even 3 years after. So it's about what? This is still a risk, I would say, for a lot of these studios, though.
Yeah.
Even though they own them, I still think this is a huge risk that they're taking with some of these characters.
Rome's, we actually listened to that Guardian article, that podcast, that 4-parter. Fantastic. Highly recommended to anyone who wants insight on kind of really the beginnings and what Marvel did. And I think that Spider-Man story of an overnight success and what that looked like and how pissed people were after they saw how much money it was making. It's just really cool, kind of the superhero genre and how we kind of got to this point. I think one thing that we talked about a lot here is stemming from that was Brian Michael Bendis, the kind of oversight crew that the MCU had in the initial Feige battles and all that kind of stuff. And fun fact, Feige was around for this stuff.
Yeah. So I forget what it was. What
He was
role
on
he
the
had.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Wasn't he
Yes.
producer for X-Men?
Yeah.
Well, intern turned man god turns ghost.
Yeah. And 2005, I looked it up really quick. 2005 is the year that Batman Begins came out with Nolan's trilogy. So these are kind of competing in conjunction with each other. So
what's the big thing from that standpoint? Because you had obviously Keaton's Bat. We forget about Clooney, Val Kilmer, forget those. The next big thing for DC really was 05, no?
Yeah, I would say Batman Begins, because the Supermans weren't really hitting as much. They were mainstream, but it really wasn't until Batman Begins. And then obviously the Dark Knight in 08 just shot it into the stratosphere. But yeah, do you guys think, all right, let's just say a big what if, right? It didn't, but it set up a lot. Because I think if you don't get Batman Begins, you don't get The Dark Knight.
It was at least enough to kind of break that mold and let people be like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily take it as seriously at that time.
Yeah.
But I think it was at least a good foundation to be like, we're not playing games.
Yeah. Batman Begins walks so The Dark Knight can run.
That's fair.
Honestly. But let's just say one big what if, right? Before we kind of close it up. If one of these movies was to be the perfect version of that movie, do any of these kind of kickstart an MCU in their day? Based on this list. Granted, Spider-Man 2 did hit really well, so let's kind of take that one out.
Should we take Iron Man out just because that actually did kickstart a major franchise? Or like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm going at?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But it would have been very different, I feel like. I don't think that Iron Man, that 05 they had in mind, would be the same.
Oh, definitely not.
No.
But, to kickstart. Shit.
Oh, that's
So right?
I'd be mulling it around with like, I feel like Fantastic Four could be the core. And that's kind of easy to say. But I feel like that would be the core of like where if they were to show up anywhere else, it would feel like they could play, especially at that time of that specific team. That original Fantastic Four, if they were to show up in someone else's movie, you'd be like, ooh, something big is probably going on. Like the fact that they took the time to go to find the X-Men or show up and meet Daredevil, or Fury comes across them, or they show up in Spider-Man or something like that, like in New York. Like, I mean, that would have probably been the play. Fantastic Four, make them the hub of New York and pull in your Spider-Man, then play around with Punisher, Elektra, Daredevil. I think that would be your center, and then you could span from there. But yeah, I'd probably have them as the core.
They are right in the center for a reason. I'm kidding. They just fall there.
They should
happen to fall there.
Rome's made a good point of Deathlock. I feel like Deathlock.
The name just doesn't sound too like
But it's so 2000s and 90s though, like
it
Deathlock and like
is.
the
Mid
trailer.
2000s, that would go hard.
So hard. So hard. Now that is not a title movie. People are like, I'm not going to see Deathlock. I'm like, I'll be front row, but yeah, no.
And with 2006 Will Smith, bro, this movie would be
Ooh, that's pre I Am Legend Will Smith, right? That came out
but
in 07.
just enough of iRobot Will Smith.
Wow, beautiful.
So you're getting peak Will Smith.
Yeah, that would have been nasty.
Now, like that movie probably would have shot off.
Have you guys
But to start a franchise and like try to get like kids, everybody of all ages involved?
bro, but that's
Yes.
I mean, okay, here's the question. Do you think with these movies, I mean,
I don't think
yeah,
my parents would have taken me to see that movie if that came out in 06.
and kids were
That's
into
Just like how
this?
Deathlock
yours
isn't-
want to take you to see Blade. I don't know much about Blade.
Deathlock's-
I don't know much about Deathlock at all.
Google Deathlock real quick. Look at some images and imagine the toy sales.
This
Fuck,
would
dude, that's
sell.
bold.
This would sell.
Bold.
You know, the fact that you're putting your
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Was,
What are you
I just realized that also. That is.
yeah, no, dude, this would sell. This
Oh.
would sell.
Oh yeah. Never. I take everything I just said back.
And
Cyborg.
and again, remind me if I'm incorrect, because I don't know that much about Deathlock. I know enough, but I don't think Deathlock is that violent. Like he obviously has guns and he's shooting, but I don't think he's like a very overtly violent character. If I
mean,
remember.
you have to be looking at kind of the style
Wasn't
of
it Agents of
movies being
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
directed by that point. So I mean, is that the kind of story that they would tell? I feel like that's still at the time where it's like if you have guns as your main weapons, there's a lot of shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Rome's
don't
all
think
all I'm getting is Deadshot. So I don't think it's working in the way. Yeah.
And that's the point though with Rome's, like this is still, again, like we were saying, not that far removed from toys being the main driver for Marvel. That was what sells. And again, a lot of it still does. You even look at 08 Iron Man, like that's the play. Toy sales.
Yeah. And also remember this, that Will Smith turned down The Matrix. And I think that he probably would have regretted that. And to be honest, I still think to this day he regrets it. I wouldn't be surprised if the rumors were true, right? That there were some talks about making him the center of a franchise back then.
Yeah.
It's a dark horse pick, man. It comes from out of nowhere, but if they set that up right, the perfect way with Deathlock, you get a huge A-list actor. Because let's be honest, none of these other movies are getting A-list actors. Bro,
Kind
that
of.
one would have taken off.
I mean, if you think about it, besides Punisher,
Who would have played Cap?
Toby was homegrown. Couldn't tell you about Man-Thing. Wesley Snipes was massive. Jennifer Gardner was huge at that time. The Fantastic Four were homemade. Couldn't tell you about Iron
Jessica
Man.
Alba, yeah.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Nick Cage, yeah. But I feel like this was... Remember, though, this is before all of these came out, with the exception
100%.
of... So, you know what I mean?
Spider-Man.
I feel like maybe they kind of switched it up at some point and said, okay, maybe instead of making these types of movies, we need to go into more A-list actors and try to get them on board.
I think it was a money thing back there. And I mean, to be honest, if you were to take away X-Men 1, 2, and Spider-Man 1, this activity calendar photo does not exist from a Marvel perspective. And I think that's the strength, and that's why I think the first couple X-Men movies are a little underrated. It's kind of like the foundational pieces for Marvel movies and really shifting tides for the superhero genre. Like these were, I mean, Blade included.
Yeah. Yeah, Rome's. It really was all about the cool factor, and I think that's you can see it in the movies that did come out. They try to go for that incredibly hard. Fantastic Four, Elektra.
Okay.
Obviously, some do better, but you know,
Let me ask this question because I think this brings up a good point, knowing the state of the superhero cinematic genre today. Is it missing a cool factor?
a little bit.
I think since Cap and RDJ are no longer with us in the
Right.
MCU, definitely lost the cool factor. Because no one was shitting on the MCU, saying it wasn't cool while they were around. But ever since Endgame, man, it's been a freaking like, as you guys both know, it's just been crazy out there.
It's weird. I think
You don't
that
have like a
would
true
be.
face of like coolness anymore.
It's not cool to be cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
they are. I would say that good point. You took it out of my mouth, Rome's. Shang-Chi, I would say, was probably the closest, if not then No Way Home after that. But I think that also relied on like nostalgia to make it cool. But besides that, there hasn't been anything that's like that you can promote to a mainstream as cool to watch. Like Iron Man, you could because he's this dude in a robot suit. That's pretty cool. And then Cap, you're this dude who's just, a hunk of a man out there kicking butt. I would say Thor, but then they've made Thor so uncool now.
I thought that's
Unfortunately,
exactly what I thought. When Thor 4 came out, I was like, ooh, I don't know if he's that cool.
yeah, he could have been that. He
Super
honestly
cool.
should have been.
be.
But I would say the second closest is Doctor Strange. But even
Yeah.
he feels a little more niche than cool.
I would say
still.
Yelena. Yelena feels like she's got cool vibes.
Oh, yeah.
She's got cool factor.
Yeah.
She's got chill vibes, and I think that's why people like her.
It's not as cool.
Yeah. But she's cool, but not like
More chill. More
she's
chill
chill.
than cool.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Let's say the only closest Scarlet Witch. No, I think people just more like her for different reasons. So
yeah,
not in a bad way.
Black Panther was cool.
Black Panther.
Yes.
Black Panther was
Panther
it was cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Damn,
I think he could have been, but obviously, real world stuff has.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
this was fun.
This was fun. Weird last final thing. Isn't it kind of funny to think like, oh, what could have been? And now it's like rumored that a lot of these people are coming back from a legacy standpoint in the next like 4 or 5 years. Like, not all of them, but potentially a select few.
I mean, if the rumors are true, we'll be seeing stuff from Daredevil this year, and we'll be seeing X-Men stuff this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wild times.
Imagine if they freaking just like honor this picture and then they go show just like in Secret Wars eventually and just have like a variant of like what upcoming release Captain America would have been or like what 06 Namor would have been. That would be freaking cool. Just to pay off like 20 years.
Don't give them ideas for free. Make them pay you for their ideas. They don't want to do stuff that's that cool. They want to be like, oh, you guys want no action?
Yeah.
Good.
But
give you no action.
But honestly, I think Marvel needs to do this again. It's been a long time since we've gotten that D23 announcement for Phase 5. And again, real world problems have just thrown it all to crap. And I think having a film activity calendar like this, not in the same vein, obviously, but a graphic of sorts for Phase 5 and 6, man, I think it would do wonders for the MCU. There's a reason that this picture is so cool now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we need more of it. So
I'm with it. Well, Listen, we appreciate each and every one of you joining this live stream. Rome's said it best. I think this is pure nostalgia. I think all of us have just been like gushing over this calendar and talking about this and just reminiscing on some good old times. But we got big things coming up. 2024. The year is still very young. Stay with us. And again, we made it through milestone 1. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. So if you did like this live stream, if you're watching this after it's been recorded, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you want to see, what you want us to talk about. But everyone, until next Wednesday, 9:05 Eastern, keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out.